A thought for today: treasure in jars of clay, to show that the surpassing power belongs to God and not to us. Paul writes to the church in Corinth in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 7. But we have this treasure in jars of clay, to show that the surpassing power belongs to God and not to us. We are afflicted in every way, but not crushed, perplexed, but not driven to despair, persecuted, but not forsaken, struck down, but not destroyed. Have this thought about clay, fragile vessels that God has chosen to be His dwelling place, this treasure of a surpassing power of His presence in the ordinary. My first train ride in India, from Bombay to Delhi, 1975, I was offered a cup of tea in a clay cup. I drank it, then wondered what to do with this beautiful, fragile clay cup. And the person in front of me threw his out the window, so I assumed that's what you do. And I threw mine out and it smashed immediately, dust to dust. We're like that. That was beautiful tea. But taste and see that the Lord is good. We have this treasure in a jar, and there's an aroma that flows. It's the very presence of God. If you turn to 2 Corinthians 4, from verse 1 through to the end of the chapter, read it through and consider this treasure, surpassing power of God, often working in the unnoticed, in the ordinary. And Paul shares, and I have these few words here to reflect on what he shares, speaking to my own heart. He shares about the unrelenting mercy of God. Because of that, we don't lose heart. God's grace is here. It's His treasure, the treasure of His presence, His power with us now. And so we now have uncompromising submission to this truth. And we appeal to everyone's conscience to believe this truth. God with us right now in this space by the power of His Holy Spirit. We understand that there is distortion and there is deception in society and also in religious circles. But we have this treasure, and so we proclaim Jesus Christ as Lord. He has unveiled light of His presence to us, the unveiling of the glory of Christ. His light shines in our hearts right now, dispelling darkness, this treasure, showing that the surpassing power is completely from God and not from us. And then we are unwavering through affliction. We embrace His death, and His life is manifest in us today. And we worship Him. We are unashamed to share this good news, but we speak what we believe with love, because His presence is His love manifest to us, a revelation of His Father. And we speak what we believe with love so that others can know this truth and be set free. And we have an unshakable foundation that though our tent is temporary, we are actually the living stones in the eternal dwelling of God. We are the place where heaven invades earth. And God with us, this treasure of His love, of His righteousness, of His mercy and grace, of His forgiveness, His redemption, of His healing power, of His ability to deliver. And so we are ministers, as we read on into the next chapter 5, of reconciliation, bringing the very life of Jesus to everyone around us, because he is our peace and we walk in that peace today. Jars of clay, fragile, brittle, but surpassing power because of the treasure of the presence of God himself, light breaking darkness, life releasing his light to our family, to our neighbors, to the nations. God showed up in our brokenness, declared his beauty, and now the blessing flows to all nations through his people.